Hey there and welcome to I Need a Weapon. In this series, I take your guys' Call of Duty classes and I review them on a scale of 1 to 10. These ratings are of course subjective, they're based on my playtime with the weapon, so if I deal with really difficult enemies, my ideas about the class might be different than if I had an entire evening pub stomping with friends. So of course the testing can't be scientifically airtight, but I do enjoy doing it. I love class creation in Call of Duty. I think it's one of the most underrated aspects about Call of Duty, and that's why the season took a break during Call of Duty World War II, because the class creation was so simple, there was just really not any point, and I tried doing an episode, but I just deleted it because it just wasn't any fun. Anyway, today's class is from Dank, and he has a class named the Powerhouse. The preferred game mode for this class is TDM, and this is the Rampart with iron sights, high caliber 1 and 2, grip, fast mags, and for perks, tier 1, tactical mask, and tier 2, gung ho. He also told me to use the stem shot and that he likes to play with Crash or Ruin. He says this thing is really good at beating out people in close range 1v1s, and that the gun is the opposite of stealth and will tell everyone where I am, and that is definitely true. Now when I overview this class, I see that it's supposed to be a lot more aggressive than even maybe I'm comfortable playing with the Rampart. The inclusion of stem shot and gung ho and tac mask is a really nice combination, because if you're gonna run a class that's supposed to be fast enough and aggressive enough to utilize gung ho, you probably should also use stem shot, because the base healing in this game is absolutely disgusting. It's horribly slow, and if you're not using stem shot in your aggressive classes, then you're doing something wrong. And the reason I love tac mask is that it gives you a little bit of resistance. When it comes to the way you have the weapon set up, there's nothing technically wrong with it. I actually don't run both high caliber attachments on this gun. I don't know why, I just don't ever feel like I need to. But if this class is about beating out people in close range, then yeah, you want the most amount of damage possible with the least amount of precision required, because you also don't have an optic on this gun. Now these iron sights are more than usable, but they are kind of narrow and they do bounce around a lot, making long range combat kind of irritating. You see, after the gun's latest buff, it doesn't have crazy third shot recoil anymore, meaning it's really good for tap firing at a distance. So I usually like the dual zoom sight or the regular reflex, or maybe even the holographic, really any sight in the game. And maybe that's just me, I'm actually pretty good at winning gunfights in close range even while using like the recon scope or something, so whatever. But if you're trying to make, again, like a 1v1, like push them and kill them kind of class, then iron sights are just fine. I have nothing like objectively wrong with the way you have the Rampart set up attachment wise. As for my experience with the class, I did notice that at ranges, I wish I would have had an optic or long barrel, and against certain teams, I really wish I had FMJ because they were running armor. And when you have to start hitting an extra shot to kill with the Rampart 17, it kind of removes the whole reason of using the Rampart 17. I don't trust my level of precision when I'm trying to hit enemies in close quarters, tight, fast-paced skirmishes, so I would have much rather have had FMJ throughout my experiences. Because if you don't have FMJ, the Rampart's whole selling point of being able to dispatch somebody quickly goes out the window the moment you go up against an armored user that hasn't had their armor broken yet. In Team Deathmatch, I don't need to be constantly pushing an objective, and in Team Deathmatch, I sometimes like to play a little bit more conservatively in order to get my streaks, because rushing people doesn't work as well when there isn't really an objective to get points from. So because of the slower nature of TDM, I kind of wish this was more of a versatile class. I kept wishing, oh, if I would have had long barrel, that could have been a really nice long shot, or if I would have had red dot sight, that would have been a lot easier to land those shots there. And that lack of versatility definitely made me have to work a little bit harder on forcing my engagements, which it's just not something I'm that keen on doing, but of course is totally doable and isn't a deal breaker, but I was kind of longing for a little bit more versatility as I played with this class. Now when it comes to the reliability of this class, I honestly also felt like it was a little bit lacking. Not impossible to deal with and definitely usable, but you have to factor in the fact that the Rampart 17 has a 30 round magazine you can blow through pretty quickly. The Rampart 17 doesn't allow you to have a suppressor on your class, so once you've fired the gun, you are on the map for everyone to see. And like you said in your description, there is no point in stealth with this weapon. This weapon is not about stealth, and that's fine. But you have to ask yourself, am I being aggressive with a slow firing yet high damage weapon that only has 30 rounds and doesn't allow me to mask myself on the minimap while firing? This created a lot of situations where I was going up against multiple enemies and just felt like I either didn't have enough ammo, I wasn't hidden enough, and so I'd get a kill or two and then die, and I do not like 1 KD classes. Trading 2 kills for a death, 1 kill for a death, 3 kills for a death, 1 kill for a death, and running back in and doing that over and over again is kind of obnoxious. And seeing how this gun isn't built around versatility and it's more built towards rushing into enemies and dealing as much damage as possible, I just think that the selection quality here is leaving something to be desired. Trying to utilize the Rampart's close range damage as like the sole purpose of the class might not have been the best idea. I'm not going to say what I said in my last review where I basically said that the Vapor would do what the KN57 was trying to do in that class better, so just use the Vapor. In this scenario, I'm not going to say that you need to use a different gun or anything. I'm saying building a class around one aspect of the Rampart's abilities is kind of not optimal. I don't know how else to put it, because when you have a gun that can kill really quickly up close, that doesn't mean you should build a class strictly around its ability to kill up close. The Rampart's really good at long range, the Rampart's really good at mid range, and the Rampart can deal a lot of damage up close, but for it to be an aggressive weapon, I don't think so, and it's kind of hard to plan for 1v1 gunfights in TDM when no one really is tied to an objective and there are 6 enemies running around the map. It's kind of hard to just initiate 1v1s all the time. Because yes, in a 1v1 scenario where we're kind of both equally matched, I feel pretty confident with this Rampart setup. But that's not really that realistic of an expectation. And I do want to point out the class is totally usable, but I just feel like the Rampart isn't best suited to this style of play. I think you should look at the Rampart's close range damage as a bonus to an already really good gun, instead of something that you should build a class around. So what I love about the weapon is its close range damage and, honestly, its ease of use. The foregrip plus the high caliber attachments makes killing somebody quickly very easy. But what I don't like about the class is that I don't feel confident fighting multiple opponents, especially if they have LMGs, SMGs, DMRs, or literally any other gun unless I'm fighting multiple snipers. Maybe then I can get away with it. This class lacking Scavenger bothered me at first until I started to run Crash. And running Crash makes this class way more usable because of his assault packs. Staying fully stocked on ammo makes me want to be a little bit more aggressive because you do have fast mags on there, and because of fast mags, I do get to like run in, get some kills, and then bolt the fuck out, reload really quickly. I have tons of ammo because of the assault pack, and so on and such forth. Not really so on and such. I repeat the cycle. So I like this for hit and run tactics, but I do think there are better weapons for hit and run tactics, but that's the playstyle I kind of tried to adopt. What I would do to improve this class is make it more versatile, give it some more ranged opportunities, give it a clear sight picture with a red dot sight, and maybe don't rely so heavily on using the Gung Ho perk to run up to somebody and then hosing them down with high caliber 2. Maybe only high caliber 1 and a little bit more of a versatile, flexible class would have been better with like a red dot or a long barrel or FMJ, so you have more consistency, more reliability, and you're not forcing yourself into a playstyle that maybe the gun isn't perfectly optimal for. So I'm going to give your class a 5 out of 10. In case you guys are wondering about how my ratings work, 1 is unusable, 5 is a perfectly usable class, anything above 5 up to 9 is basically just better than average, and then 10 is something I don't even need to review. I just tell you guys to use it because it's so damn efficient. So yeah, I think if like the Rampart could have like suppressor, extended mags, and quick draw, then yes, it would be extremely powerful in this type of setup. But the fact is, you can't. You're stuck without a suppressor, no quick draw, and 30 round magazine tops. So you might find yourself out of ammo and exposed in most of these types of engagements in a match of TDM. So hopefully you guys liked this video. If you did, like this video. And if you don't, then dislike this video, that's fine as well. And if you want to leave me a comment, leave me a class down below. Make sure you name the class, use up all 10 pick 10 slots, and yeah, I'll see you when I see you guys. Goodbye. And don't forget the preferred game mode. It's not rocket surgery, just add a game mode, otherwise I don't know what the class is meant to do. See ya.